Hi. Before I begin today's lunch alert, let's all just take a moment and pray for the people of Florida and of Texas. May they not lose their lives. May they keep their homes. May they keep their businesses. We pray for them in this terrible, terrible hour. Finally, Donald Trump is beginning to act like a president. It's funny, but it took Oklahoma City more than 2 years into his term for Bill Clinton to learn how to act like a president. And you could see the change that came over him if you were up close to him. There was a new dignity, there was a new pace to what he was doing, there's a new certitude to his actions, there's less second guessing, there's less turmoil in his brain, and much more focus on what he had to do. And the turmoil in Trump's brain is obvious from the tweeting that he does. But I think increasingly you're seeing a man who is used to being president, who's learning how to do it. After all, it's not something you can step into very easily. In his conduct in these two horrible storms, Harvey and emerging Irma, I think that we really are seeing the kind of executive management that a guy who built a multi-billion-dollar enterprise is capable of. You see the delegating of responsibility, you see the follow-up, you see all the stuff that's necessary. When a president confronts a disaster, the problem is that he also has to confront the normal operations of his own government and fast forward them or circumvent them or invent new ones so that they can cope with an unprecedented emergency. I remember a conversation I had with Bob Riley, the governor of Alabama, when the BP oil spill took place, and the sludge and oil was racing toward the coastline of the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And it called for getting new winches or dredges that would stay out in the harbor and collect the oil, catch it, before it went to the mainland of the U.S. And so he immediately and adroitly got a hold of everybody in his staff and said, find out where every one of these dredges is, anywhere in the world, and buy it. I'll give you the money right now for it from the state. And they did. And then FEMA called him up afterwards, perhaps prompted by my friend James Carville, and said, you got to reserve some of these for Louisiana. You can't take them all for Alabama. In fact, they took all of them away from Alabama and gave most of them to Louisiana. So what was he supposed to do now? Well, his backup plan was to go out into the sea, a very limited extent, and catch the sludge as it was washing up on the beaches. But the Fish and Wildlife Authority in the federal government said that's an EPA violation. You could catch sea turtles in that. You could catch other protected species. You're not allowed to do that. So then he said, well, my last line of defense is let me hire people at state expense to go around the beaches picking up the oil as it washes ashore. Well, OSHA stepped in and said, oh, this is hot out there. You can't make them work more than any 2 hours in a row, and there has to be a break every couple of hours, and imposed all kinds of requirements. But as the federal government and state agencies were flooding him with you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, Riley, as a really competent governor, overrode them and made sure that you could do it and protected his beaches very valiantly. So that's what a president has to do. That's what Bush failed to do in Katrina. He just failed to overcome the inertia of his own government. And now you see Trump, the manager, the builder, the doer, really overcoming the constraints in his own government and orchestrating very effective relief moves. How do we know they're effective? Well, do you think this media would cut him a break? Do you think that if there were people waiting, or you had the same situation you had with Katrina or Sandy, that there wouldn't be complaints wall to wall in the media and Trump would be being vilified coast to coast? Of course not. The fact that there's silence in the media on that score is a tremendous compliment to Donald Trump. Thanks for watching.